What is up, guys? MaxmovLive here. Welcome back to Wood River Basin. This is my Northwest United States inspired build. Not the Pacific Northwest, but some high desert theme. Basically, Southwest Idaho, to be specific, is what I'm basing this off of. Anyway, we're starting off with a live play. As you can see the mouse floating around here. The reason for that is we're going to be kind of checking out some things that I did. The time cycle moves around. Let's actually let's get this to the middle of the day, and then we'll slow that down a little bit. Anyway, what we were doing, I did a lot off camera, so I just want to show that really quickly. First off, the downtown is really shifted. We can pause that again. The downtown is really expanded. We've done quite a few more blocks here, as well as a shopping center up here, you can see. So we got a CVS, a Dunkin', Urban Outfitters, Starbucks, basically just a little bit more stuff bridging these two areas. We moved down, basically just random filling in. There's nothing too exciting around any of this. And then over here, I really like this, a dirt parking lot, to kind of abruptly cut off the city there, because we end up with some more, we're going to do office buildings over here and stuff. And some of that is what we're going to work on today. But there's also like these apartment complexes, basically, in a parking garage, not an apartment garage. Anyway, so stuff there, and then if we move, also, totally forgot, this whole section is new. You can see it is, it's quite different. So we have some new roads in there. This is kind of to show that it's like the newer addition, because this part over here is historic. This section over here is meant to be kind of the new additions to the city. So a couple new sections, really working up here to the mountains, or at least to the foothills. And then I also have a fire station here, which I really like the look of. I think it's awesome, nestled in the neighborhood. That's actually based off of my local fire station, the one closest to me, but it is not at all in a region like this. But I like that. And if we head over here, you can see I added more industrial. You can see the demand for industry is quite high. So we filled out this little strip here. Still haven't touched the airport. That is for Officer Lee to do. Then over here is the last bit of work. You can see way more warehouses. It's really hard working with this slope, but I think I've done my best. And then this section here is a little bit new as well, and we're going to kind of work up around getting right up to the airport, especially with some larger lots. We have another fire station here. It's the same building, but this is meant to be serving the entire region out here. The airport, I'm assuming, will have its own fire station, but regardless, this has a lot of lighter duty brush, but still a tower and a rescue unit back there. This road here specifically serves, I think it's this, oh no, not clear traffic. That would be bad. Vehicle restrictions. So it serves only emergency, so only emergency vehicles can cut through here. That's so they don't have to drive all the way around, they can just go there. But that's about it for the live play, just trying to show off what we did. But today we're probably going to be working up around here and around here, expanding residential and commercial. I was going to do university, but there's a new DLC coming out for that, the campus expansion, so I'm going to hold off on that until the DLC is actually out, and then we could do a university properly. As you can see, districts, it'll be right there. But I don't actually really know what we're working on today, because I'm recording the live play like before I build anything else, so we'll see what happens. But we'll go ahead and cut into the time lapse right now. Okay, so in the time lapse now, where I actually know what I'm building, because it's after. And I want to mention something that I completely forgot when I did the live play. This is episode 10, and that is really cool for me. It's kind of the first small milestone in terms of a series. It feels like, at least in terms of my series. I got a little tongue twisted there, sorry. Especially City Skylines, but 10 episodes in, and I feel like I'm really starting to find my stride and push forward in both building style and editing style, and that's something I will talk about in a little bit. As you can see from the live play, I worked a lot off camera, and I actually did do more off-camera work in between these segments. And I guess that's something that I can talk about right now as well, is the fact that, once again, I'm trying a new style with this video. I'm really excited with it, and I think it'll be pretty cool, but basically what I'm doing is breaking up the video into segments. There are 3 segments in this video. Basically what we're doing here, there is a second building project, and there's a third building project, all within this video, and I've broken them up with cinematics actually, so I think it's a cool opportunity to get more cinematics in the video as well, and not just like at the end where, honestly, I have a feeling that not a whole lot of people watch them, but it's totally fine. It's an opportunity to see cinematics and show off certain parts of the video, as well, or certain parts of the build, as well as just break up the different elements of the video. So, I'm definitely excited about that for the new editing style. Let me know if you guys enjoy it. I think it'll be pretty good. I am definitely excited. So what we're doing right now is working on a new office block. Something that happens in Boise, and I'll go ahead and slap up some Google Images, or Google Earth, right here. Basically, you can just see that they are pretty generic or standard office buildings, but what's cool is that they're right up against the river, and the city kind of creeps up to the river at that point, and that is, that's something that I want to showcase in this build, because I think it'll be pretty cool. So, I mean, you can see, I'm looking for some office buildings. I always feel like I don't have the right assets, particularly, for certain builds, but that is totally whatever. And I'm playing around with roads as well, trying to get parking lots as well, because I've noticed that builds are a lot more realistic when there is more parking and roads around them. For whatever reason, I just apparently haven't included enough roads, but that's totally fine as well. And kind of fighting the terrain here with the build, because there is a bit of a slope creeping down to the river, and that's something I noticed that we are definitely working around, but the way I've done that is by using the terrain align tools with Move It. I think that's what they're called. Basically, you can snap terrains to each other, different heights, and so you're able to get flat parking lots. The actual parking segments I've flattened, but then the service roads kind of have a little bit of variation to them to bring them down to the next levels, which ends up working out really well, I think, and it looks really cool. But that's kind of what we're doing right now in this this segment of the video. Like I said, building this office block and then commercial areas. And the reason I am starting on this side is because I'm going to slowly begin to fill the city out towards the river. Right now we have that good cluster of downtown, but it's kind of in its own pocket of land. And what I want to do is bring it down to the river more. You can see this area is right up on it, and basically all we need is a block, maybe 2 blocks more of building, and we will have a solid section. I don't want to overuse the word block, but we'll have a solid section of the city that goes all the way down to the river. And that's good, because right across the river, basically right across the bridge you can see there, I want to put a campus. It's going to hopefully be the main university in this build. Obviously taking inspiration from Boise State, because this map is kind of, at least the city is heavily inspired by Boise, Idaho, and so it would be Boise inspired. That being said, though, I do not know what I'm going to call the university, and that's because I don't actually have a name for this city yet. Wood River Basin is the name of the map, but that's just the general region name. Just like in real life in Idaho, it's the Treasure Valley. Here, it's the Wood River Basin. And there's no name for that yet. So if you have any suggestions, I know I say it every video, but seriously, like, by next video, I'm going to need to have a name. So somehow, I am going to need a new name for this city. I think it would be cool if it has something to do with trees or plant life, because Boise is like a rough translation of like City of Trees, or the trees, Le Bois. So I think it would be really cool to have those features in there, and I would like to have a city name by the next episode so that we can start the the university, because for those that don't know, City Skylines just released today, actually, as I'm recording this. It's Tuesday when I'm doing the voiceover. Video goes out tomorrow, which is today if you're watching it the day that it comes out on Wednesday. I always seem to confuse that stuff, or make it more confusing than it really is. But basically, the day that I'm recording the voiceover, to try to simplify this as much as possible because I know I'm overcomplicating it, the day that I'm recording this voiceover, City Skylines Campus, I think it's just called Campus, just released a couple hours ago, and it's a all-new DLC based around university and college. And I think that's a perfect excuse to build our own university, which I've been wanting to do for a while, but wanting to include it in this series for a while. And I think it would be a good excuse to do it, and it would pull the city right down to the other side of the river, and that's why I want to extend the city out here to the river. But speaking of the DLC, there's another thing I wanted to talk about. Because there's a DLC and there's a game update, certain mods are not going to work, and that means that for the time being, I don't think I'm able to play City Skylines on this Wood River Basin map. So, unfortunately, I have no idea when the mods will be updated. Obviously, the past episode, I talked a lot about removing mods and stuff and cleaning up the game, but I still have a lot, and it looks like I'm going to have compatibility issues mainly with the loading screen mod and the improved public transport. It is what it is. It's a part of the game. Updates happen. We'll just have to wait and see, so there may not be a Wood River Basin episode next week, depending on how long that game takes to, or how long the mod authors take to update things. We'll just have to see. So we'll play it by ear. Talking back on what we're doing on screen right now, something really exciting actually is starting to put in some commercial. There's a lot of restaurants you might have been able to see in that Google Earth earlier. There's a lot of restaurants that are right on the river. They kind of have patio space that goes up. And at some point, possibly next episode, we're going to build the Greenbelt as well, which in real life in Boise is a whole lot of pathways and bike trails and pedestrian paths. Basically, it's one giant sidewalk or stretch of pavement that goes on both sides of the river and just stretches for long stretches along the river. And it's super cool, heavily wooded right up on the river. It's awesome, but at some point we're going to build that, but that's why there's still a little bit of a gap. There's going to be a lot of trees there once we're done. I think it would be really, really cool, and I'm excited once it's there. But right now, we're just doing the commercial that goes right up there. It's on the other side of the office blocks. There's plenty of parking, plenty of room for the commercial, and I think that, honestly, it just looks amazing, and I am so excited for this. I really feel like my building in this video, particularly once I work on the industry stuff, is going to be pretty cool. I am really enjoying my building, if that makes sense. I'm enjoying what I'm building, and I feel like my skills have really improved lately, but I think it'll be cool, and I hope you guys enjoy the city as well, especially, I mean, just this series. But yeah, that's basically it for the office block. Don't worry, we have a lot more coming up, so we're going to take a quick break of cinematics, and I will see you in the next building project right after this. Okay, so the next project that we are working on is an extension of the residential, but it's going to be a little different. Like I said in the live play, I'm using these newer roads to show that it's a newer area. It's been built more recently, and that's why I'm using different roads. And this is where the historic residential area, which, by the way, that also doesn't have a name. Really, the only places that have names are Ivy Valley, which is the logging and timber industry area, and that was game generated. I just liked how that sounded. And then of course Wood River Basin, which is its own entity. But basically, those are the only two things with names. So this little district needs a name, and I'm all ears if you have suggestions. But this is where we start to get out of that historic area, and we start getting involved with newer houses and more commercial. Because it gets closer, the way that the angle works, it's on a grid, on a rectangular grid, but it's offset from the downtown grid. So there's a really cool angle that happens when the two areas meet, and this block is right on the border there. So you can see the commercial right on that main road, and directly behind it, separated by a parking lot and basically just a privacy fence, are people's houses. And I think it's a really cool feature, honestly. Or I guess not so much of a feature, more of just a part of the game, or a part of the town, but I think it's super cool. And you can see how those are connected there. Also, just using a lot of copying and pasting to fill these in. Trying to put in some parks as well, but I ended up just filling it in and putting some walking paths, because I didn't feel like building a big park there. When we do the university, or when we start on that side of the river, we're going to build a huge park, which will be pretty cool. But basically this area, all that it consists of is this little strip, like one building's strip of commercial, and then usually a parking lot or something, and then residential behind it. But they are newer homes, and I started using some newer houses as well. And I actually used more of the same houses and less variation to change it, which is another tip. But that's basically all we're doing for this section, so I'm gonna head over to the industry area right after some cinematics. So this is an area that I did build a lot off camera. I showed a little bit in the live play, but I added all new oil industry because I felt like getting something a little bit more, getting more industry. Obviously, you can see in the time-lapse footage there on the toolbar, just a massive demand of industry, and it went down a little bit. Putting in the offices helped, and because the game is slowed down, the actual game speed is slowed down. It does take a little longer for the game to respond to changes, but another reason is I wanted more factories, because these huge buildings, they take up space, but they're realistic because they take up space. A lot of these industrial areas, at least in Idaho, are just huge factories, huge like warehouses and distribution centers, and so it makes more sense to have larger buildings rather than like a collection of a bunch of smaller buildings, which is what City Skylines kind of has in the default like zoning industry that we would have had to plop down. But I'm throwing in like warehouses into everything, but the reason I wanted oil basically is so that we could have plastics and use a couple more types of unique factories. You can see we put a toy factory down there, and I do end up detailing it a little bit, and I actually started to play around with detailing and having a lot of fun detailing. This area especially, I used a lot of ploppable asphalt to get darker pavement in, so it's not just like the one uniformed gray all the way across. And you can see here, this is one of my favorite shipping yards that I ended up doing, if you can call it a shipping yard. It's just a little lot, but I threw down ploppable asphalt, put in decals and tire marks to really rough it up, and then throw a fence around it. I threw some trucks, some props, and stuff like that. You saw it in the cinematic there. I seriously loved it. This is the type of stuff that makes me excited about City Skylines and doing more stuff like this. And this is why I'm saying that this is one of my favorite episodes to date, because of the work that I did in it. It's really amazing. And so we're just adding fun stuff like this. Obviously needing more ore, so I'm throwing in more of those derricks. At some point, I probably will move a lot of those oil pumps out, just because they're out of the way. A couple here and there are fine, but this is kind of like a a more dense industrial, like, warehouse area, but whatever you want to call it. So just searching for props, like I said, I was detailing, trying to find these workers, which I could not remember the name of for the longest time, but ended up throwing them in there. And I think this area is really starting to come together. I am loving the look of it. Another thing I did is actually flattened out a lot of the terrain, and I did that off camera, but I built these blocks and just flattened them out, which really, really helped. But that's basically it for here. Like I said, I'm detailing, throwing in stuff, making it look nice, in my opinion. But we're going to head back over to the city. So much jumping around, but we got one last project to do for this video. Okay, so we are on to the last and final project of the video. I'm so tongue-tied whenever I record these. Anyway, the last and final project of the video, extending more of the downtown, and we are flying through it. So, right now, I just want to thank you guys for watching. It's a quick clip, so I'm rolling through the outro. Thanks for watching. If you did enjoy, please be sure to leave a like on the video, because it helps show you support, and it helps bring new people to the channel. Of course, if you are new here, please be sure to subscribe so you never miss out on any more of my future content. I'm enjoying this game so much, and I know I say that every video, but I really do mean it. It's amazing, and I really look forward to hopping back into it. So, obviously, if you like this project, if you like where I'm going with it, feel free to support the channel and join and subscribe. So, lastly, if you have any thoughts, comments, questions, or suggestions, especially suggestions, because, like I said, I need name ideas for anything, or suggestions on things I could build in the map, let me know. Drop a comment down below. I do read and respond to all that I see. At the very least, I read them. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. We have more cinematics at the end, because I felt like treating you guys. Plus, I want to show the city off more. But hopefully you guys did like this slightly different style of video. With that being said, my name is MaxmovLive. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to turn up the music, get to some cinematics, and I will see you in the next episode. See you guys later.